Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big except dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Imagine you're a tech startup founder who loves the efficiency of digital and self-serve sales models, but you have a problem. This Gartner report reveals 75% of B2B buyers prefer buying without a sales rep. However, customers using rep-assisted digital services experience half the purchase regret. So what to do? This counterintuitive finding highlights an understanding gap in digital sales effectiveness. Today, we zero in on why integrating human touchpoints alongside your digital sales can significantly enhance deal quality, especially pertinent for tech companies with complex, long sales cycles. You'll learn how to craft a customer journey that maximizes digital efficiency and human insight. We also discuss strategies to enhance your go-to-market and marketing tactics. I'm Mark Donegan, a seasoned marketing practitioner with 2 decades in tech sales and marketing leadership. If you find today's discussion enlightening, won't you consider subscribing to our podcast? Now, Tim and I discuss optimizing your sales strategy to reduce buyer regret and close higher quality deals.
Hey Mark, you ever wonder how the perfect balance in sales can boost a business?
Oh, for sure, Tim. It's a game changer. Let's dive into that.
Absolutely. So, what's the first thing we should know?
Well, first up, there's this hybrid selling approach. It's critical.
Hybrid selling? That's like mixing digital and human touch, right?
Exactly, Tim. Most buyers these days, they kind of prefer doing things online. But here's the kicker. Adding a sales rep can seriously up the deal quality.
Really? How so?
Well, buyers feel less regret when a rep helps out. Makes the purchase feel safer, you know?
Got it. So, digital plus human equals better deals. What's next?
Next up, we got to talk about value framing and affirmation. These are huge.
Sounds fancy. Break it down for me.
Sure thing. Value framing, it's all about showing buyers how a solution fits their needs, helps them see the big picture.
And value affirmation?
That's when buyers feel confident about their decision. It's about making them feel good about the purchase.
Makes sense. So they understand the value and feel great about buying. Powerful combo.
Totally, Tim. And there's a stat. Doing both can lift high-quality deals by up to 30%.
Wow, that's huge. What's the last big point?
The last piece is all about integration, blending digital content with human interaction.
How does that work?
Well, imagine you're using a website, right? You see great content, it frames the value, but then a rep jumps in at the right moment to personalize your experience.
So, it's like the rep uses the digital groundwork to deliver a knockout punch?
Exactly, man. It's about making the whole buying process seamless and more effective.
Man, integrating those can really turbocharge sales.
You bet. And here on the Marketing Execution Podcast, we see it all the time.
That's some solid insight, Mark. So all this means buyers get a smoother journey and businesses close better deals?
Right on, Tim. It's all about creating that perfect blend of tech and touch.
Perfect blend, huh? I love that. Thanks for breaking it down, Mark.
Anytime, Tim. Glad to share what we know.
Well, this stuff's crucial for anyone in B2B. Think about how it could change their approach.
For sure, Tim. It's about adapting and nailing that buyer experience.
Adapting and nailing it. Love it. So what does all this really mean for our listeners?
It means staying ahead, Tim, using both digital and human elements to not just meet but exceed buyer expectations.
Exceeding expectations. That's what it's all about. Thanks, Mark, for the deep dive today.
My pleasure, Tim. Always good to talk shop and help folks out.
Absolutely. And to everyone tuning in, keep pushing for that balance in your sales strategy. It's a game changer.
Couldn't agree more, Tim. Keep exploring and integrating everyone.
You heard him, folks. Thanks for joining us on the Marketing Execution Podcast. Dive into these strategies. See the difference they make.
Catch you next time with more insights. Stay sharp, everyone.
And remember, it's all about execution. Let's keep making those smart moves.
So, Tim, after unpacking all that, let me share what this means in a broader sense. From what I've seen, when businesses get this right, it's like they've hit a sweet spot, a balance that really propels them forward.
Right, Mark. It's about striking that perfect balance. So, how do businesses start to get this right? What's the first step?
Well, it starts with understanding your digital tools. Companies need to really grasp how these tools can extend the capabilities of their human sales force, not just replace them.
That makes sense. It's not just about having digital tools, but using them effectively. Can you give an example?
Absolutely, Tim. Think about a common sales tool like CRM software. It's powerful, right? But it's the human touch that can turn those cold data points into warm leads and eventually into relationships and sales.
Oh, for sure. It's that human element that can take the data and translate it into something actionable.
Exactly. And this is where integration comes in. You need to have your digital processes and your human team working in lockstep. For instance, when your sales team is alerted in real time about customer behaviors from your digital platforms, they can personalize their approach instantly.
That sounds incredibly efficient. Real-time adjustments to strategy could really change the game.
They do, Tim. And beyond efficiency, it's about effectiveness. When teams are informed by robust digital insights and can then apply their human judgment and experience, the quality of engagement with the customer increases dramatically.
Got it. So it's really about enhancing the strengths of both digital and human elements. What about the challenges companies might face here?
Good question, Tim. One major challenge is resistance to change. It can be tough to get buy-in from all team members on new tools and strategies. It's crucial for leadership to not only provide the necessary training, but also clearly communicate how these changes benefit the team and improve outcomes.
That communication piece is key, isn't it? It's not just about implementing tools, but also about bringing people along.
Right on, Tim. And speaking of bringing people along, let's talk about the customer's journey. They're navigating through a lot of information and options. Our job is to make that journey as smooth and reassuring as possible.
Absolutely, Mark. So how do businesses ensure that smooth journey for their customers?
Well, it's about creating content that not only informs, but also reassures the customer. This is where value framing and value affirmation come into play. You need to present your product in a way that aligns with customer needs and then continuously affirm that value, making the customer feel confident about their decision.
That sounds like a powerful way to build trust. Any tips on how businesses can better frame and affirm value?
Definitely, Tim. For framing, use clear, relatable examples that illustrate the benefits of your product. For affirmation, regular follow-ups and check-ins can make a huge difference. Show that you stand behind your product and are there to support the customer post-purchase.
I love that approach. It's proactive, not reactive. And I guess this also ties back to using both digital and human resources effectively?
Exactly, Tim. It's all about leveraging each channel's strengths. Digital tools are great for providing information and gathering data, while human interactions are crucial for building relationships and trust.
Mark, this has been incredibly insightful. Thinking about our listeners, many of whom are navigating these very challenges, what's the big takeaway for them?
Tim, it boils down to this. Use technology to enhance, not replace human interactions. Equip your team with the tools they need and ensure they understand how to use these tools to create more meaningful customer engagements. It's about empowering your people to make smarter, more empathetic decisions.
Empowering for smarter decisions. I like the sound of that. It really ties back to what we've been discussing about the perfect blend of tech and touch.
It does, Tim. And remember, the goal is always to enhance the buyer's journey and experience, making it as seamless and positive as possible.
Enhancing the buyer's journey. It's clear that getting this right can really set a business apart. Thanks, Mark, for sharing these insights.
My pleasure, Tim. It's all about putting these ideas into practice and seeing the impact firsthand.
Absolutely. And to everyone tuning in, think about how these strategies could transform your approach and results. Mark, it's time to get practical. What can our audience do to apply this information?
You know, Tim, having great ideas is just the start. The real magic happens when we put those ideas into action. How about we dive in and make it practical?
Absolutely, Mark. I've been eager to get into this. Where do we start? So, Mark, the report mentioned a hybrid approach as essential. Could you break down what that really looks like in a business setting?
Sure thing, Tim. Think of it like a sports team. You've got your digital tools. These are your strategic game plans, stats, and playbooks. Then, your sales reps are the players who bring the plan to life on the field. It's about using the strengths of both to win the game.
Interesting analogy. And how do B2B companies ensure they're using both effectively?
It starts with integration, Tim. For instance, imagine a tool that tracks customer interactions online. When this data is shared with the sales team, they can tailor their approach based on the customer's behavior and preferences, making each interaction more personal and effective.
That sounds like a game changer. Can you give an example of a company doing this well?
Look at a company like Salesforce. They use their own CRM to not just gather data, but to empower their sales team to create personalized experiences that resonate with their clients' needs and drive engagement.
Makes sense, Mark. Now, about overcoming resistance to this digital human integration, how should companies tackle this?
Education and communication are key, Tim. It's about showing the value not just in terms of sales outcomes, but also how it makes the job easier for the sales team. For instance, using role-play scenarios or simulations can help teams feel more comfortable and see the practical benefits firsthand.
Got it. And when it comes to customer journeys, how do these strategies enhance their experience?
It's all about smooth navigation, Tim. From the moment they land on your website to the follow-up after a purchase, each step should affirm the customer's decision to choose you. Take Adobe, for example. They use targeted content that addresses specific customer needs and concerns throughout the journey, reinforcing the customer's decision at each step.
That really ties in with the value framing and affirmation you mentioned earlier. Can you expand on that a bit?
Absolutely. Value framing is about clearly showing your customers how your product or service fits into their world. It's like showing someone how a puzzle piece fits into the puzzle they're trying to solve. Affirmation comes after. Once they've committed, you continue to reinforce that they made the right decision, which can be through case studies, follow-ups, or customer support.
Love that puzzle analogy, Mark. So what are some common pitfalls companies should avoid?
A big one is inconsistency, Tim. If your digital presence says one thing and your human team says another, it confuses customers. Consistency builds trust. Make sure all your channels are aligned, from your social media to customer service.
That makes total sense. Consistency is key. Now, for companies looking to get started with integrating these strategies, what's the first step?
Start by evaluating your current tools and processes. See where there might be gaps in what your digital tools provide and what your human team can add. Then look for solutions that bridge these gaps. For example, if your data shows that customers hesitate at a certain point in the sales funnel, consider how a human touch could overcome this hesitation.
Interesting approach, Mark. And for our listeners who are already using some of these strategies, how can they level up?
Scale your successes, Tim. Identify what's working and find ways to do more of it. Maybe it's a particular way of engaging customers that can be rolled out more broadly, or a piece of content that consistently performs well. Use your data to guide you.
Data-driven decisions. I like that. It keeps you grounded in what actually works. Mark, with all these insights, what would you say is the overarching takeaway for our listeners? And for folks who've been nodding along, thinking about how to apply these nuggets to their own setups, what's one thing they should consider after tuning out today?
Think integration, not just implementation. It's not just about having tools or processes, but making them work together seamlessly. That's where you'll see real impact.
Integration, not just implementation. I'll definitely be remembering that one. Mark, this has been packed with insights. Can you summarize the key points to help our listeners plan their next steps?
To wrap up, it's about blending the digital and human elements in sales. Use your digital tools to gather data and set the stage. Then let your human team personalize and build trust. Ensure consistency across all channels to maintain trust and enhance the buyer's journey. Start by evaluating your tools and processes and focus on integration to make everything work seamlessly together.
That's a solid wrap-up, Mark. With all we've covered today, what's the standout takeaway for you personally from our chat?
For me, it's the power of integration. It's not just about having the right tools or the right people, it's about making sure they work together flawlessly. This synergy not only improves efficiency, but also significantly enhances the buyer's experience. That's the game changer right there. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.